Hello, sober army. How are you? This is Craig back, battered and worn and scarred and all sorts. Welcome into a strange episode of the Happy Sober podcast. I got out of hospital yesterday. That is the second hospital. And the title of this video is I Died Twice and Now Everything Has Changed. It has been the worst couple of weeks of my life. So this is a strange episode of the Happy Sober podcast in that normally when I make one of these, I know the title, I know the point, and I know a few bullet points along the way that are going to get me to the point of the video. At this point, I don't know what I'm going to say. I'm just going to wing it and try and explain to you what's happened to me and give you an update on that if you care. Perhaps you don't. If not, just skip forward. And also to kind of tell you my reflections on that and what I think it means. And also to tie that into alcohol as well, which is prevalent in our lives. And we use it for various reasons in life. So let's start with the story of what happened. Like a couple of Sundays ago, 2 Sundays ago, I woke up with some pain in my abdomen, but it wasn't crazy bad. It was like 3 out of 10, but it was annoying. I even went for a bike ride with my friend Andrew. Came back from the bike ride. Okay, now it's 4 out of 10. I was complaining on FaceTime to my daughter about it. Then I had lunch with my wife, and that's when the world ended. After lunch, the pain went from 4 out of 10 to 8 out of 10, and it wouldn't stop. I was sitting rocking in my chair, thinking, this is, I've never had anything like this before. What the hell is going on? So after about an hour, sitting with a hot water bottle and a cup of hot tea, I thought, this is not right. There's something wrong. I went to the emergency room. A doctor came along, did an X-ray, did a CT scan, put me on a bag of pethidine, and told me that I had appendicitis. Sign here, please. You need emergency surgery. Okay, fine. Now, the problem is they delayed surgery for 12 hours. I think they underestimated just how bad my situation was. Another emergency came into the hospital. They said the operating room's busy. You'll have to wait till tomorrow morning, but don't worry, you're not that bad. Actually, it turned out that I didn't have uncomplicated appendicitis. I had a gangrenous appendix with necrosis, and it was perforated. So basically, it was a rotting piece of meat in my stomach that was leaking deadly poison into my abdomen. But they left me 12 hours. So by the time I got to the operating theater, I was in a very, very bad place. And the operation was traumatic and difficult and took much longer than it should have done. And that's why in the first video I said, oh my God, I nearly died. That's scary. Unfortunately, after I got out of surgery, I was in just as much pain as I was when I went in. And that only got worse for the next 2 or 3 days. 3 days after my surgery, I was in a very, very bad place. My inflammation markers were nudging up towards sepsis, and in fact crossed over into sepsis on my last day in the first hospital. I was having difficulty breathing. I told the doctors I can't breathe very well, and they dismissed it and discharged me. So I had blood markers indicating I had sepsis. I was complaining I couldn't breathe. I had intense pain, and I looked like I was 9 months pregnant. But they discharged me. It was a state hospital, and I went home. I lasted about 6 hours at home before I was taken again to an emergency room. Thankfully, this one, a better hospital in the capital, Nicosia, about a 45-minute drive. And as it turned out, I had a very, very severe infection. I had retained 9 kilograms. What's that, like 25 pounds of fluid in my body. I was in fever. My blood markers were awful, terrible. I was in extreme pain. And the reason I couldn't breathe was because my lungs were full of fluid. So I was very happy to get to the second hospital, and they were so much nicer. They were so much more professional. They were lovely to me. They took me to the ward and started treating me. And unfortunately, I went downhill for about another 3 days. And it got so bad at one point that I text my children and said goodbye. I took all my money, everything I could get my hands on, every current account, every savings account. I took every single penny I could find, and I wired it all to my wife because I was thinking, all right, look, if I die, she's going to have a lot of mess to deal with here. She's going to need money to sort it out. So I gave all my money to my wife. I said goodbye to my kids. I text my best friend and told him, look, this is what's happening. Will you please look after my wife? Make sure you give her a bit of help. She's going to have a lot of trouble to deal with. And I tried to kind of put my life in order as best I could in what I thought I had about a couple of hours left. And that was, they say it's going to get worse before it gets better. That was that point. At the time, I thought, this is it. It's over. I'm not coming back from this. Thankfully, that didn't happen. I think it probably would have happened if I was still in the first hospital. In fact, I know it would have happened if I was in the first hospital. But that was, as it turned out, was the peak. I got through it, and I slowly started to get better. So I had 10 days in total in hospital. And I think he died twice. And that's why I have this feeling that everything has changed. I just don't know how yet. All right. So I know that's a bit vague and mysterious and all that, but I just wanted to give you an update on where I've been for the last couple of weeks and what's been going on. It has been the worst 2 weeks of my life. Unbelievably awful. Just I can't even put into words what it's been like. But obviously, I've had a little bit of time to reflect, and I want to apply it to alcohol because there's a saying that goes something like, you can have a million problems. You can have your rent. I'm spinning that plate there, trying to pay rent. I've got to look after the kids, spin that plate there. Obligations on me, spinning that plate there. My car needs a service. I'm spinning that plate there. My career, I really need to make some progress, spinning that plate there. You've got all these things going on in your life all the time, and you're worrying about all of them, right? But if your health goes, you only have one problem. Everything else is irrelevant. When your health goes really badly, that promotion work doesn't matter anymore. The money in your bank account doesn't matter anymore. Nothing matters. The only thing that matters is, I'm really poorly. I hope I get out of this. What am I going to do if I don't? There's nothing else matters. And losing your health temporarily is one of the, I think, best ways for you to be refocused on what's important. And when it comes to alcohol, it's just not worth it. I've always thought the deal was skewed. I always thought it was a bad deal. I buy that there are benefits to drinking. Tiny little benefits that operate in the very shortest of short terms. I accept that. That if you're depressed and you drink some alcohol, it might take your mind off it. If you're anxious and you drink some alcohol, it might calm you down for a few moments. If you've had a bad day and everything sucks, drinking a little bit of anesthetic might take the edge off. I get it. I buy it. But the price you pay for that in the medium term is just crazy. It's crazy. It's the worst deal ever. But, this health incident I've had has made me focus more on the long term, right? And it's just made me realize just how bad that deal is in the long term as well. Because if you're chronically using alcohol, if you're drinking every day because the boss is an asshole or you're stressed or you've got financial problems, you are stacking up pain beyond belief. Not just for you, but for your family as well. Because this is a liquefied poison that we dilute with fruit juice. Doesn't change the fact that it's a poison. If you drink poison long enough, you are going to get ill. It's as simple as 2 plus 2 equals 4. It is a logical conclusion of your actions. If you consistently drink poison, there is only one outcome. And I can tell you from recent history and from recent experience, you don't want to be in that place. You do not want to go there. You don't want to be sitting in a hospital bed, texting your family saying goodbye because this drug took you there. And I'll find a way to express this better over the coming weeks, I'm sure. But I just wanted to jump in with a quick message and say to you, if you have any doubts about whether going sober is for you or not, for the love of God, for the love of yourself, for the love of your family, listen to me and trust me. Do it. Get this poison out of your life. Live long and live healthy. Do not fall for the bullshit a moment longer. It is all a lie. This drug wants to torture you to death. There is no bargaining, there is no negotiation, there is no moderation. The only way you win this game is to not play the game. Right? That's the end of it. I've seen people in hospital dying because of this drug. Stop this, rule making. I'll only drink at the weekend. I'll drink a glass of water for every alcoholic drink. I'll only drink on special occasions. You cannot negotiate with the Grim Reaper. You cannot negotiate with this drug because it's objective and its sole goal is to torture you to death. The only way you win is to not play at all. I am deadly serious, and I hope you can see that this comes from my heart. And I'm begging you to get off the fence and take action because the time is now. The time is now. Take action and start that journey. All right? Thanks so much for all your very kind messages. They really touched me and helped me in a very difficult time. And I will be back with a kind of more normal format next week. Thanks a lot. Stay safe. Look after each other. And I'll see you in the next episode of the Happy Sober Podcast.